Now, I live in a decent home with my wife, one son, and one daughter, and we have a warm, happy family. But when I was young, it was nothing like that. I lived in a tiny, single-room flat with my younger brother and sister. Thankfully, both of them are doing well and living happily now, which is great because I don't have to worry about paying their rent anymore. My father passed away from cancer, probably brought on by the stress of a failed business. My mother, who had been left to raise us on her own, eventually grew sick as well, exhausted from the struggle, and she too passed away. That left just me and my siblings together in that tiny room. From middle school on, I worked any job I could find, stores, deliveries, anything. My resume looked like I was running from the law. By high school, I dropped out and took a factory job. While my classmates were doing algebra, I was figuring out how many boxes I could carry without breaking my spine. My sister was quite pretty, and I guess she needed more spending money during her school years. Supporting that wasn't easy. My brother was the smart one. I may have left school, but I worked even harder because I wanted him to succeed through education. Back then, my only dream was to keep working until my siblings could stand on their own. One day, there was a huge rainstorm. Our home was half basement level, so everything we owned was flooded and had to be thrown away. It looked exactly like that scene from Parasite, except in our case, there wasn't a film crew yelling, "Cut!" On the bright side, at least I finally had an excuse to get rid of the ugly furniture. What broke my heart most wasn't even the fact that we suddenly had no place to sleep. It was seeing my brother's books and notes completely ruined. My siblings didn't show it, but I knew how painful it must have been to go to school without uniforms, without textbooks, trying to keep up in class with nothing. Thankfully, the factory where I worked let us stay temporarily, so at least we had a roof that night. We slept on the factory floor. It wasn't comfortable, but at least the machines didn't snore. But I had to spend the college savings I'd set aside for my brother just so we could move to a new place. And then I started to wonder, why me? Why so many hardships, one after another? Most people struggle just with poverty, but why did I have to face so much more at such a young age? Maybe it was adolescence talking, but one day after work, I wandered to a frozen lakeside. I thought, maybe it's time to end it all. I walked to the edge of the frozen lake, ready to jump in and end it all. But the moment my foot touched the water, I thought, bloody hell, that's freezing! This is worse than life. Turns out, hypothermia is a terrible way to die. So I decided to postpone my death indefinitely. At that moment, a truth hit me. I didn't want to die. In fact, I loved myself too much. I loved my siblings too much. What I couldn't bear was the reality so far from the life I wanted. It wasn't that I had no will to live. It was the opposite. I had too much desire, too much love, too much ambition to accept a life that was crumbling. That's why I drove myself to the edge. From then on, every morning felt like marching to the battlefield. Small failures didn't matter anymore, because I had already been broken once, and I knew I could rise from the bottom. Eventually, I learned my trade well enough to start my own business. People called it reckless, but I thought, of course it's reckless. It's called trying. Looking back, I see now, those hardships weren't just misfortunes. They were gifts, wrapped in the packaging of suffering. And the bigger the gift, the heavier the wrapping. So now whenever trials come, I ask myself, Is life preparing another gift for me? And I believe it. Every wound, every tear I've shed has only made my life shine brighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. Why does life feel like such a roller coaster? Why can't we just be born, live happily forever, and then die peacefully? Imagine waking up every morning feeling happy, and every night saying, "Wow, today was perfect." Why doesn't life work that way? Well, it actually does, mate, but only for dogs. They eat, go for walks, nap anywhere they want. Honestly, their lives are way better than ours. But let's take the red pill and come back to reality, shall we? The moment you wake up, you check your phone, and the first thing you see in the company group chat is meeting rescheduled to 9 a.m. And just like that, your happiness gauge crashes straight to the basement. That's reality. If you're hungry, you need food. To get food, you need money. To earn money, you need to work. Tired already, aren't you? But here's the thing. We don't envy dogs. Why? Because humans are far more powerful when it comes to fortune. I mentioned earlier that humans possess stronger fortune than animals or plants. If you want to know why, check out the video linked above. The essence of luck. This is life. We fight tooth and nail every single day. So how could anyone possibly be happy all the time? To understand this profound mechanism, let's turn once again to the Ching. According to the Ching, every event in life carries fortune or misfortune. Fortune means gaining what you want. Misfortune means losing it. Even though humans are gifted with strong fortune, we often fail to get what we desire. Why is that? The answer is this. Fortune and misfortune exist for the sake of achieving great enterprise. Now, great enterprise originally meant founding a nation. But in modern terms, think of it simply as great success. You might be thinking, why do I have to go through hardships to achieve great success? Can't things just go well from the beginning? No, they can't. If they did, lazy people, con artists, and fraudsters would all succeed. Then the world would turn into one giant trash can. That's why fortune and misfortune exist, to ensure that only those who remain upright and steadfast reach true success. The I Ching says that victory belongs to the upright. In this context, upright means unyielding, staying true to your principles, holding firm to your original intent, even when everything is falling apart. The universe has a rule. Only those who do not break will survive to the end. Incredible, isn't it? It's like the heavens created a system where only the good ones make it through. Of course, the problem is that the universe will absolutely torment you until you become that good one. The Confucian philosopher Mencius once said, "When heaven is about to entrust a person with a great mission, it first tests their mind and will with suffering, exposes them to pain and exhaustion, lets them know hunger, pushes them into poverty, and frustrates every attempt they make. All this is done to strengthen their resolve, to build patience and endurance, and to prepare them to accomplish what they never could before. Life's hardships aren't meant to break you. They're meant to make you stronger." But let's be real, and that doesn't always feel comforting, does it? Because before you get stronger, it already sucks like hell. So here's the conclusion. Don't break. Since you're going to be tested anyway, you might as well push all the way through, because that's where the real fun is. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that was the most important moment of my life. And honestly, the biggest failure you can make in life is not watching this video to the end.